history and what challenges they actually have as far as that nomination is concerned. But it's good to see you, Simba. Good morning.
Good morning. It is Thursday, but I've been thinking about it, Ankey.
Yes.
We've never really thrown it back here on Thursdays. But people say it's Throwback Thursday. What did you say it was for Wednesday? The one that I did not agree with.
The WCW?
Yeah.
But I
which you said what?
I said WWW.
Which
Working
meant?
Women Wednesdays.
That's your creation. I've not seen it anywhere. And I keep on saying that stop using it like that.
I didn't use it for the past few Wednesdays.
Because then you're confusing a lot of people with the Working Women Wednesday.
Working Women
What about
understand.
those who are not working? Huh?
Yes, and when we say that, that's why it's universal, because it's not specific to where you work. Even women, even housewives are working. It's domestic labor, so whichever way you want to put it, they're all working women. Some people are going to accuse you
of not really looking at all women on the same platform. Because why you only identifying those who are working? Anyway,
I explained, Simba.
Listen, it is a good day for us to talk about. But the sun nowadays comes up very early. It's good to see the sun.
Yes.
But then let's start like this. Since we're talking about Throwback Thursday, Ankey, I know you do not know a lot of hip-hop fans today. They are grieving the death of Coolio, I would say that. Coolio gave us top songs like Gangsta Paradise, yeah? And it's a fantastic introduction to hip-hop. I don't know whether my producer would play for us that bit because he passed on yesterday at his home in Florida. Oh, yeah? Thank you very much. In Florida. And his famous songs, just one song that really gave him a Grammy award as well. For us who grew up listening to Coolio with his Gangsta Paradise songs, and he even had a cooking show, Cook with Coolio as well. May his soul rest in peace. I know a lot of guys will say, well, he didn't really hit the highs when it came to music. But for me, if you ask me, I put him on the same platform with the likes of 50 Cent. Not so much Eminem, because he's untouchable. But for me, it is on the same platform with the likes of 50 Cent.
Well, may his soul rest in peace.
All
right, Simba, if we come back to local news, what is trending right now, before we go all political, because I know it's very political in the review, Kenya road deaths rise at a record pace. And of course, we know how many lives are claimed on the roads. We've talked about this over and over again. More Kenyans have died on the road between January 1st and September 26th this year, compared to the same period last year. And data from the National Transport and Safety Authority, NTSA, now shows. And we're just going to be coming back with what's going on in matters politics. But today, it's pretty much what's going on even on the roads and the safety, and it's very disheartening, Simba, that from January 1st to September 26th, the number gets higher and higher, and these are families and breadwinners and professionals, people who ought to build the economy. And somebody once said on the show we used to have called Arrive Alive that it takes a lot of years to actually build a teacher and a lawyer, a doctor, and these are the people we actually lose on this particular road. So, well, a sad note to begin a morning, but it is what it is. Be careful on the roads this morning.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I was forgetting, just before we look into what is on the newspapers today, it is the 29th, isn't it?
Today.
Of September. That is the International Day for Food Wastage and Loss, by the way.
That's correct.
And they're saying each year we lose 23 million trucks of food. Ankey, by the way, 23 million trucks, yeah? They are able to cover the entire universe thrice. You can imagine. So today, think about, before you throw your food into your bin, the foods that you don't like, the foods that you don't eat, think about it. How can you stop it? Today in the morning, I'm going to tell you exactly how you can be part of this conversation. But for now, we take a tiny breather right here on the Morning Drift. Once we come back, let's look at what it is trending as far as your dailies are concerned.
That's it, Simba. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is the Morning Drift, and we want to go straight into the business of the day this very morning. As always, we look at the dailies, and I'm grabbing a copy of the Standard. What is trending on the Standard's front page, Simba will take us through the nation, is no easy road for the Hustler cabinet. Now, you want to ask yourself why that is a headline. We do understand that President Ruto just unveiled a number of names, new faces, as well as a few of the old. However, very clearly, we noted that vividly, he almost retained no one, if not completely no one from the former regime. And we're seeing here manifesto headache. I like how the Standard always puts this, Simba. They're calling this a manifesto headache. If I read that in detail, of course, it's captured on page 4 and 5 for more of those who want to read on that detail. For some nominees in the executive, getting a nod from Parliament will not be a walk in the park, given the integrity issues surrounding them. And if they do, the in-trays in all the ministries are overflowing with minimal resources to get the job done. Now, to highlight a few, faces, Know Your Nominees is also captured on pages 6, 7, and 8. There are names like Susan Nakumincha, Zakaria Njeru, of course, called in for the lands and the housing. We have Rebecca Bore, looking at labor, Eliud Owalo, ICT and digital, Penina Malonza for tourism and wildlife. So it's pretty much a headache there for President William Ruto as far as these different names are concerned. But if you want to read more on knowing your nominees, just something that was highlighted also yesterday on their portfolios, the profiles and backgrounds, that's also captured on page 6, 7, and 8. Now, Simba, before we go further into the Daily Nation, let me take a look at this on the Standard. Also taking center stage is relief for millions as Fuliza slashes interest rates. Now, it's getting a little bit better on one side, as much as it's difficult on the other side. You do realize that the difficult, harsh economic times. However, on page 14 of the Standard, this is captured. Safaricom has announced a 50% reduction in the Fuliza tariffs, Transactions valued at less than 1,000 shillings will enjoy a waiver on the daily maintenance fees for the first 3 days. Borrowers will also enjoy reductions in daily maintenance fees. But Simba, really, is it as good as it looks? Sometimes I don't trust, all these changes and what looks so good from brands. You're the business guy that's got my back on this. What are your thoughts on that particular headline on as far as the relief for millions as Fuliza slashes interest rates is concerned?
Here's the thing that you should know, Ankey. It is not as good. By the business desk on our Look Up TV looked at what the conversation was around this. And then let me tell you exactly what is going on in the banking industry. Now, you have to look at a certain rate called per annum. Per annum is if you continue then borrowing on Fuliza month on month, then we look at the interest rate that you're paying by the end of the year. Ankey, listen, it is actually upwards of 219%. 219%. But if you go to the bank right now, Ankey, and ask for a one-off loan that you're going to pay by the end of the year, guess what? 14 to 16%. So think about it, because then one rate that you're going to look at if you're going to depend on Fuliza month on month until the year ends is 219%. But then if you go to the bank, which is heavily regulated, you only get to pay 14 to 16%. So in reality, when you look at the details, that's where Fuliza then becomes a devil. But on paper, it looks as if it's good. And if you're going to pay it within the first 3 days, if you borrow today, by the way, Ankey, 1,000 shillings, all right, and below, and pay within 3 days, that means that you are not going to get the maintenance fee, which will cost you up to 6 shillings per day if you pay within the first 3 days. But then comparatively, when you're looking at exactly what is happening in the banking sector, vis-a-vis what is happening on this overdraft facility called Fuliza, it's 219% versus 16%. It's up to you. Do you want to take it? Do you want to not? Any financial analyst will tell you, if you can, please avoid it.
Oh, Okay, that's quite a detailed one, and I think it's very important for people to always question, analyze, and understand these changes before they actually engage and take part of them. And that's the reason why I intentionally asked you, Simba, to actually put that into perspective. Now, Simba, before I cross over to you again, on page 6, there's something here, and someone would ask yourself, do nominees also campaign? No, not really. But of course, we're seeing some sort of word here on page 6 on as far as the new government is concerned, and the headline reads, nominee wants to fix lands and deliver decent, cheaper houses. Now, that is Land CS nominee Zakaria Njeru Mwangi, and he's saying before his nomination to succeed Farida Karane, Njeru was the Nakuru East Sub-County Administrator, and he sees his rise as a personal achievement and feat for the millions of Nakuru residents. Okay, so it's quite interesting what plans he already has, and a bit of his background also captured on an entire page, number 6. So you want to read more if you're interested on what, because lands are an issue here. Even Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is having an issue as far as land is concerned. We have had historic, records of former presidents, the late Moi, etc., on matters land. So land is something that in this country you want to look at as far as decency, human rights, and, housing is concerned. So I think that is a very important docket. You want to actually read what Zakaria has in mind and if it's a good fit for that particular position. I'll go back to you, Simba.
That's the way it looks on your end, Ankey, this morning. Let's then look at what is happening on the Daily Nation. And we do know there are news going around of the death of lawyer Paul Gicheru. They have headlines, this particular story, so I'm going to read into that. But then the story on that, Ankey, is the number of people who've died associated with the ICC case. 13 to be exact. That's a huge number, especially when we're talking about human rights in the country. If this case is put to the fore, another area that has been a problem in this country, human rights. Why are they dying? By the way, he was waiting for a verdict because he was indicted for having been part of the lawyers who participated in witness intimidation in the ICC case. Read into that story on pages 2 and 3 of the Daily Nation, Ankey. And there's another story here that has really caught my eyes. We do know Cleophas Malala. When it came to the list of CS nominees, he was one of those people who were missing out on it. And by the way, Ankey, you did see the recent trip that President Ruto met to London as well. Cleophas Malala was one of those close allies who traveled with him. So people were talking about how we were almost sure that it was going to make it to the final list of the CS nominees, but he did not. So questions are coming out now, Ankey, on what really is going to be the position of this close ally for President Ruto in his government. We do understand that a lot of changes are going to come in his government. So let's wait and see, with everybody saying, well, maybe Cleophas Malala is taking this route so that he can resuscitate his political agenda in the country. All right, read into that story on page 6 and 7 of the Daily Nation. And lastly, by the way, Arsenal is playing this weekend. Looking forward to that. Read that story on Daily Nation. And we're going to win against Tottenham.
Okay, what happens if you lose?
No, we can lose.
I like this.
We can lose.
All right.
We can lose.
I can't wait for your downfall, Arsenal. I mean, go to the comment section, do what you got to do. Every time I told you speak of Arsenal, I am always in red. I told you. I'm always Manchester United. We take a short breather. We come back with what's trending on social media. Don't go too far away. Join the social media family as well at Lookup TV across all the platforms. Let us know your thoughts on each of these trends. And at Dorice Ankey is my personal handle, at Simba Kiage.
Kiage Simba.
And Kiage Simba is Simba's handle. We'll be right back.
As that.
Welcome back. This is the Morning Drift. Good morning. If you're just joining us, it is 15 minutes into the hour. of a very, very informative breakfast show. And today we've looked at a lot of things that are making headlines on the dailies, most of them not as political as all eyes are on the cabinet. But we cross over now to social media, and as I mentioned earlier on, please be part of this particular conversation on what is trending. Simba, what I have right now on what is trending is quite a number of things on Twitter, and just to mention and remind you all that our main source of this information is trends on Twitter. All right, I'm seeing Coolio, Simba, as you mentioned earlier on. RIP Coolio is trending. I don't know if it's okay to pick a few.
Yeah, and this will be the right time for us to play the Gangster Paradise song. And
this is him.
Don't know whether our producer would do that for the sake of all the Gangster Paradise fans across the world, so they can actually get to know who I'm talking about. For us, is the one who introduced us to music here.
Yeah, and
so iconic, especially when a black man goes all the way to win the Grammys.
Yes.
For me, that is a legend.
By
and
the
dying
way,
is 55 years. Ankey, that is quite young, isn't it?
Yeah, and
59 by the way, to be
59,
exact.
and
is
still in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that reminds me, when you talked about a black man winning the Grammys, are you aware, or did I just overhear that the Grammys are planning to bring in a category of Afrobeats?
Oh yeah.
Yes,
because there's
and
a
that
thing
is something
going on right now.
Yeah.
You can't do music if it's not Afro.
And it's
wondering
actually
whether it's
the
gonna
end
die.
thing. Yes.
The way Crank died and the way locally Gengeton is gonna die.
No, I don't support that. But either way,
wait,
Coolio,
what are you gonna support?
Coolio is trending.
The death of Gengeton or Crank? Gengeton is gonna die.
Simba, can we push this to Friday?
Yeah, please.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll be here to talk about it.
Let's actually let that be the conversation
ask
tomorrow.
guys whether they remember a song called Githeriman. There's
Simba,
a song about Githeriman.
keep it hip hop for now, and I can see that Coolio is trending. And most of the times we say people who are legends, who made our lives beautiful and colorful, are not really people we mourn. So a lot of people are pretty much celebrating him.
Yes.
And Vale here at KK Studio, saying, RIP Coolio, thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for supporting Beats during their beginnings. May you rest in peace. Dave saying, Coolio, thank you for being responsible for maybe the funniest sentence ever written in the Canberra Times. We were seeing a lot of TMZ also coming out to say Coolio died Wednesday in Los Angeles, just confirming what happened. Richard Staples, so a lot of people remembering him, saying all rise for the national anthem, just in respect for Coolio, saying RIP. And quite a legend, quite in Kenya would say an OG.
Oh yeah.
In its own style. So a lot of people just remembering him in his, for what he did, his career, and standing really as a black man in that particular industry. Outstanding, they say his records were as well. Just to pick it as one of the top tracks.
Especially on, and if I sing this, I think you'll then know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
The one for I'll see you when you get there.
Oh yeah, see you when you get there.
See you when you get there.
Oh yeah. Okay, Simba, okay. I have not heard you sing before.
You see what I'm saying, yeah? Because if I sing that, then you will know. I mean, that particular one, and it was talking about death, by the way. Yeah.
Sometimes you just don't know when your day is.
That's it.
Yeah.
Anyway, all of us are in a circle. We don't know when our time is going to be there. Live every day making the right decisions. That's
right, Simba. I'm seeing a lot of trends here. I think we're going to pick this before we rush and close. Some of the tweets that I'm going to pick here on the congratulatory, messages, and people are just still talking about Fuliza as well. Fuliza is trending. And at Peter Ndegwa, here's a tweet I'm going to pick saying, I wish to recognize and thank His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, our president, whose government support has made it possible for us to reduce our Fuliza rates as part of the commitment to provide Kenyans with sustainable and affordable credit. Trust me, Simba, they actually congratulated His Excellency.
But the first, by the way, Ankey, here's the thing. You see, from the business desk yesterday, we got the invitation to go to the Norfolk Hotel yesterday to go attend that presser.
Did you see how they rushed his portrait?
Yeah, it was supposed to start at 12 noon. And by the way, if you go by all Safaricom events, they do not joke when they say that it's going to start at this time and end at this time. So all of a sudden, we realized, why is this event not starting? Because this is going to start at 12 and end after an hour. Then all of a sudden, it went all the way to that announcement coming in that the president is going to attend. It wasn't scheduled to attend, Ankey. Decided, let me go there, attend that event. And you could see the fracas that happened at Norfolk when they were trying to look for his portrait.
Yes. Yes, that's actually trending as well.
The president is coming, Bwana. Where your portrait up on you, man?
And I told you, Simba, I've always said this about President Ruto, quite unpredictable.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a very different kind of leader.
Which is good, isn't it?
Yeah,
which is
I
good.
think it's fun.
Because if you listen to his campaign, he kept on saying, well, I'm going to look for ways to get guys out of lizard, reduce the rates on the short-term loans. So that was the perfect opportunity for him to come in and say, well, you see, this is in line with whatever it is I was telling you, announcing that 4 million Kenyans might soon get out of CRBS.
Do we continue to say he's a man of his word?
You say that? Let's wait for November 1st. Isn't it? Yes, we want Coolio. Ankey, can I introduce Coolio?
Yes, you may, because this is really close to your heart. As much as I respect and honor what his legacy is, Simba, take it down, take it away with Coolio's memory.
In honor of Look Up TV trends, we've seen exactly what is trending online, and 132,000 Kenyans